Hey everyone, great to be here. Um, yeah, super excited to share with you some more information about our technology roadmap for this year. So also wanted to start off by just share a little bit of background about the growth of BNB Chain last year. What was some of the key learnings during that time, which informed a lot of the technology roadmap and the direction that we're really going in. So as many of you know, we launched the mainnet for BNB Chain in September 2020, and then had different periods of rapid growth across last year, with the peak in Q4 2020 when BNB Chain reached its all-time high transaction volume of around 16 million transactions, 16.2 million transactions in a 24-hour period, which is like quite unprecedented. And also reached all-time high daily active addresses of 2 million users. So that really pushed the limits of the technical limitations of the EVM architecture. So that really taught us a couple of things. One is that a single chain to run all types of applications may not be the most suitable. So we need to think about, for example, that DeFi applications, gaming applications, and a number of others are competing for essentially the same block space. So that may not be ideal. At the same time, we do see different types of requirements for other applications. So our technology roadmap in the short term is covering what we're calling BAS. It's the application, BNB chain application side chains. I have a couple of slides, so hopefully my colleagues will be able to bring those up as well. Yeah, so essentially the short term will be the BNB chain application side chains, which will be really ideal for gaming applications. So if we look at what are the kind of infrastructure requirements for gaming applications, we can see that the current BNB chain may not be suitable for all range of the types of gaming applications and use cases, especially considering, for example, transaction fees, where the current transaction fees on the BNB chain are around 30 cents per transaction, where gaming applications may want to have transaction fees that are cheaper than that. So the current BNB chain is like a general purpose chain being used for a really wide range of different types of use cases. There's a large DeFi ecosystem there, there's a large gaming and NFT ecosystem, and then long tail of other types of use cases there. So for the technology roadmap, we're trying to provide different types of infrastructure that will be suitable for specific use cases, starting with the application chains. Could we go on the next slide, please? Cool. So here we can see that there's two parts here. So in the short term, we're going to be launching the BNB chain application side chains. So these are going to be, think of them like a mini BNB chain. So they're going to have their own validator sets. They'll have configurable properties. So there'll be also permissionless. So developer teams or project teams can set up their own BAS, can decide their own validator set. Those could include the application teams themselves, other members of their communities and stakeholders as well. So these can also be gasless, so without transaction fees, and other ways to configure these application chains to meet the specific needs of those the tenants of those specific chains. At the same time, in the middle, you see that the BNB chain, that's the current BNB chain, remains like the financial hub. So we expect that most of the DeFi ecosystem stays there for many reasons. We maintain composability and other reasons as well. But at the same time, we'll have a number of initiatives that will improve a number of areas around that. So there's a lot of efforts around, for example, verification of the Aragon client and other initiatives, for example, parallel EVM to improve better block processing, pipeline, improve state caching, faster sync mode, and a number of other types of improvements that will improve the current BNB chain and make it easier for the node operator and validator community there. In the medium to long term, so towards the end of this year, we plan to roll out the partition chains. So we call that what we're abbreviating as BPCs. So these are the BNB chain partition chains, very similar to the ETH2 sharding strategy. So basically aims to offload data and computing transactions from the mainnet to smaller parallel blockchains. So that's kind of the medium to long-term strategy. Could we go on the next slide, please? Cool. So the key priorities this year, of course, I mentioned several of them. So the application side chains is coming very, very soon. I'm going to share more information about that soon. The partition chains is going to be like medium to long term. So expect that to come out towards the end of this year. And in parallel, we're working on a number of on-chain governance improvements, as well as ongoing initiative happening right now to expand the BNB validator set. So currently there's 21 validators that are actively participating in the block production. This will be expanded to 43 in the coming weeks. Could we move to the next slide, please? So I mentioned a little bit about BAS, but I want to talk a little bit more about that and why we're particularly excited about that. So we've seen that one of the big learning we had last year was really about that all the applications on the shared infrastructure is not ideal, especially for gaming use cases where projects that are building on that shared infrastructure can be impacted in a number of ways by the growth happening of other projects using the shared infrastructure. So it's very difficult to manage that end user experience from a scaling perspective if there's growth happening on other projects where it's very difficult to have like a real-time view about that growth happening. So with the application side chains, the tenants of those chains will have much better control over the scaling, will also be able to manage much higher throughput than the current shared infrastructure, and also provide users with significantly lower transaction fees, even zero fees. So the BAS chains will have their own consensus engines, their own validator sets. So will be highly suitable for large user scaling applications. So we're really focused on what's the type of infrastructure that's required to reach 1 billion users on decentralized applications. So today, the data from Nansen today is that there's 1 million active addresses on BNB Chain. Ethereum mainnet is second with around 400K. Then Polygon has around 360K, then Avalanche around 90K, and then the long tail after that. So you can see, like, even with large number of EVM networks, which is really great, like the total number of users on decentralized apps is in the low millions. So, and I think even at this current rate, if we want to get like even a 10x improvement, the current chain infrastructures and the supporting infrastructure like Node RPC infrastructure and many other critical infrastructure to support those applications are not really optimized or cannot really manage that scale. So we need to really think a lot about what's the type of architectures that can really help us to get there. And if we want to get to tens of millions and then eventually hundreds of millions and then 1 billion users, we really need to have much more scalable infrastructure. And BAS, we believe, will be one of those that will allow developers and project teams to be able to scale and manage the end user scaling experience in a much better way. So the great news I have to share with you guys today is, if we can move to the next slide, is that the BAS testnet is live. So this is like a lot of months of work that's been going on behind the scenes by our core contributors. Big shout out to NodeReal, Anchor, and the Seller Network teams for really making this happen, among many other contributors within the community. So the BAS testnets are now live. So any developer teams, especially in gaming, NFTs, or others, are very welcome to start experimenting with feedback and start contributing on the development of the BAS. We hope to roll out the mainnets for the first BAS in the summer of this year. Could we go to the next slide, please? Cool. So how can we help you? So there's a number of ways that we can support developer teams that are looking at building on BNB Chain infrastructure. Technology and technical support is one of them. So we're very keen to hear from developer teams to understand better what are the type of infrastructure and tooling requirements they have to get their projects up and running, and then also scale to the large user bases that they aim to achieve. We're also able to provide support in the way of community marketing, go-to-market planning and support, as well as investment and funding related support. So we have a number of initiatives and programs, including the BNB Chain Most Valuable Builder program, which you can find more information about at bnbchain.world. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope you found this presentation useful. Very excited by the future of the BNB Chain technology roadmap. Look forward to more contributions from the community, and look forward and welcome all developers to come and play around with the new infrastructure that we're developing. Thank you all.